Hello and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music Podcast Edition. I'm Ann Tracy. I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
And we are here with Annie Fitzgerald. Welcome.
Thank you. It's so good to see both of your faces. I can't
wait
to
see
real life.
It is. You've been on the show a few times.
I have.
I know. If this were SNL, this would be a big deal. We'd be like, oh, welcome back.
Well, it kind of is.
We'll give you your jacket.
Yeah. Kind of is SNL for Minnesota music, So.
Oh well, thank you. That's great. That's awesome. No, it's fun to catch up. And I guess we're gonna. Well, for folks who are listening who might not have heard all of the other shows, just give us a 2-minute introduction to your music history. You've got a few albums out, and you've been doing a lot.
Yeah. I put out my first full-length record a long time ago, 2011, and I did a bunch of touring. I lived out in New York City at that time. Did a bunch of touring. I recorded it with Matt Patrick here at the library in Minneapolis, and took some time off in there to raise my kiddo, Will, who's now 8, until he was of school age. And then in 2018, I put out another full-length record called You and Me and the Sun, which is a very summer record. Super fun to make with Danny O'Brien in town here as well. Had since moved back to Minnesota, and and was just playing a bunch of shows and doing lots of fun things before the pandemic hit, and got to see you all because I was involved in the Me Too Minneapolis compilation and wrote a song for that. And then since it's just been, I released that song independently as well, called I Know That Sound, and then just released a new single called Under the Moon, and continuing to write and have dreams of there's shows that are happening, and hopefully getting into the studio again soon to do something cool. Maybe you're an EP or something. Yeah, that's kind of my musical history in a nutshell. I have a background in musical theater as well. I worked in the Twin Cities area for a number of years before I moved to New York. So
nice. I have to admit that I didn't know about the New York connection until I was kind of looking at stuff today.
Oh yeah. I was out there for about 10 years.
Wow.
My mom, growing up, she was a fashion designer, and she had her own factory, and I grew up getting penny candies at the Ben Franklin and going to her studio and laying underneath the cutting table with the big one with all the rolls of fabric, doing my homework and all the things. And so when I was old enough, I think I was 14, she brought me to market, and I was very involved in dance at that time. And I always said to myself, I need to live here someday. So once I was done, I was a company member out at Chanhassen Dinner Theater for a number of years, and I finished my last show there, which was Cats, and decided that it was kind of like a now or never sort of thing. If I didn't do it now, I wasn't going to do it. So I found a roommate on roommates.com, which was a thing then, and packed a suitcase and moved, and was there for quite a while. I auditioned when I first got there, and then I really realized that I wanted to focus on writing and performing my own music. So I kind of did a switch there, and then got really lucky and got into a showcase through the Songwriters Hall of Fame. They had a new writers program, and that showcase, my friend Rachel Platten was in it, who wrote Fight Song. A friend of mine named Stephanie Germanata was also in it, who is now Lady Gaga. Lots of really it's been so cool because there was like 4 people out of that group of 10 of us that have just done huge things, and that opened up a lot of doors for booking and different things. So I feel like I got lucky in that sense. But it was fun. It was super fun to live there. After about 5 years, I was like, oh, I can't do it anymore. Very sensitive to energy. A lot, but it just took a while to make the move back. So I'm grateful.
You may say lucky, but I mean, people prepare for their own luck. People make their own luck.
You're right.
I mean, there's also like, winning the lottery, but first you have to buy the ticket, I guess. I mean, there is luck, but it really is that the preparation and the bravery to go out.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a good reminder. You're right. You are right. Yeah.
Well, and I think the prescience to realize that it was now or never. You know what? As you know, now you know it's much harder to do with a kid.
Oh, yeah. I could not imagine ever doing it with a kid. Um, yeah, I'm glad. I kind of feel like part of it when it was happening, I was like, okay, this is time. I know this is something I want to do. I feel like during that process, I was kind of almost like out of my body a little bit because if I was really like, I wouldn't, I don't know. There was something about it that I knew if I thought too much about it, I wasn't going to do it. And I knew in my heart and my gut that it was something I needed to experience. So,
I about the same age. I moved to London. I know exactly what you mean. When
yeah,
you're sitting in the airport saying,
what am I?
I don't, this isn't really you. I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know what I didn't do as much with it, but yeah, that's, well, and you can no longer get a kid some penny candy from Ben Franklin and have him sitting under the,
You can't. I'm totally dating myself when I said that.
you know what, of what you've just told us, that was my favorite part.
Yay! It was kind of the best actually. I can still kind of taste them and smell the fabric, and like I would take the rolls and I would kind of like make a V so that I could sit really comfortable and do my math homework. And
Oh,
yeah, it was pretty cool. And my mom, I mean, she had a factory in Crookston, Minnesota. Like she had 14 employees sewing for her, and she was selling to all of to Nordstrom's and Dayton Hudson, it was called then. And dating myself yet again.
I'm with you.
Yeah. But it was such an inspiration for me to grow up like that, to see this person just like my mom, like doing her thing. And I know, good friends, Sarah Morris and Vicki Emerson and I talk about being a mom and a musician a lot. And something we talk about too is that, sometimes it's really hard to, tour and do all the things and be a mom at the same time, but it's so important for them to see us doing it. So yay for that.
I think it is, and I think, and it's, I have all daughters. You have a son. I think it is particularly valuable for sons to see that.
Yeah.
I think I just think it. I think it is. I think it's because if you have daughters, you may, and you don't live that life, you may pay lip service to it.
Yeah.
But if you have a son, I don't think people take the time to pay lip service in the same way of women should be able to
Right.
work and do.
Yeah, he was at his end of year lacrosse party, and they were all outside eating ice cream at Dairy Queen the other day, and he was with his buddies, and I was kind of off to the side, and he was like, "You should hear my mom's music. It's really beautiful, and she sings and all this stuff." And he goes, "Some of it feels like it should be in sad movies." I was like telling him, I was like, "Oh my god, it's so cute, so great."
Oh, you're doing a lot of things right when that happens.
Oh, I hope so. I know I'm doing lots of things wrong too, I'm sure, because parenting.
It's really you got to give them something for the therapist to work out later. That's what I say. That's what I say. Well, let's talk a little bit about under the moon. This moment is all there is. That's a powerful line.
That line. So I've been working on this song for a while. I have a morning ritual that I do right here with lovely things and books, and usually I have like a book of poetry. Right now I'm reading Clarity and Connection by Young Pueblo, and if you haven't read this, it's gorgeous. But I had a book of poetry by the Sufi poet Rumi, who I love, who many people love. And I had been working on this song for quite a while, and I read the line. He says, "This moment is all there is," and I went back to the song later that evening, and I got to the chorus, and I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "That is what I'm trying to sum up. This whole thing is just all about that." And he comes to visit me a lot when I write. There's a song I wrote called "Be Like a Tree and Let the Dead Leaves Drop," and it came into my, I don't know, sometimes I feel like he's like one of my writing guides. I don't know.
Tell me where you got the one. This is what got me, and I had seen it. You showed me how to hold my pain and watched it dissolved until only love remained. Like that. I feel like you need to write books after I read that. I was like, please,
Oh,
seriously.
thank you. So I originally started writing the song because it's come to be really important for me in my life to have a group of people that I meet with to heal with. And I moved back to Minnesota, and one of my mom's best friends, who I grew up with, who's like a second mom to me, started doing new moon and full moon gatherings, and I started going, and I started realizing how important it was to have this circle. It was mostly women. Sometimes a man would come, and that was wonderful. But we would always just, start with a meditation together. And there's something about community and being together that, we're all like, we all know that now in a way that we never knew before. But we would start doing that, and then everyone would just kind of share what it was that they were working through. New moons are new beginnings usually, and full moons are kind of the culmination or the end of things. So each time we would share, and then everyone would have their own kind of self-reflection time. And most of the time there was always a fire when we could have one, and we would write, either set intentions on the new moon or release things on the full moon and watch them burn together, and sometimes hold each other's, we were just there to witness each other. And it's just such an important thing for me. So the woman who started hosting these, I found out that she had cancer, and that's when I started writing the song. And the meaning of it, is just, and she's since in remission and doing wonderfully. But the meaning has morphed and changed so much through COVID, as far as like just thinking about, I would do the rituals by myself most of the time during that period of time. But I've missed the witnessing, I've missed the connection and the holding space for one another. And I just think that that's such an important part of healing, and it is for me. So yeah, that's kind of where that came from.
I can't even imagine to have a ritual like that. I mean, the closest ritual to me would be, that I missed in the last year, going out dancing with the turf club, which is a whole different, I can dance in my room by myself, and I did, but it's a different, but yeah, that must be an entirely different experience to take something that is so communal yet so personal and spiritual, and to lose the half that egg would be hard.
Yeah, it was definitely hard for me to not have that. But I also I feel like, we're all discovering these like COVID gifts as we're coming out of it and kind of going back into the real, like some sense of normal. I don't even want to call it normal, because I don't want things to go back to normal, like I want the connection, but I think that one of the COVID gifts for me in a way was that, I didn't have the witnessing, but it helped me go deeper within myself and connect to my higher self in a way that I hadn't experienced before. So I do feel like that was a gift. And I've been very into astrology my whole life, but over the past like 8 years, I've really gotten into it. And so I kind of just delved into that, and I feel like my astrologer that I study with like became my friend that was witnessing me while I was burning things in the backyard or whatever. Yeah, so I don't know.
That's fascinating. What I know about astrology I could write on the side of this pen. I mean, it always interests me, but I know very little about it.
Sometime when you and I go on that walk finally, yeah. I will fill you in. I study with an astrologer named Tanny Nicholas, and she's Amazing. And it's just really a tool for growth, self-growth, and learning more about yourself. I've always been really into growth and trying to be better and get better and know myself better, and because I feel like that helps me know others better, and just grows, the compassion and muscle and all of those good things. And yeah, I just find it fascinating. I find it fascinating. Um, there's something that's happening today. Saturn is squaring Uranus for the second time, and it's like the big theme of 2021. And the last time it will happen is the end of December. And the first time it happened, so Saturn is like the planet of like lessons and figuring out like where your limitations are, and it's like pretty like cut to the chase and sort of harsh. And Uranus is the planet of upheaval and change, and like it's like kind of like a trickster sort of in a way. And the first time this happened this year was on January 6th.
Are you serious?
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
I talk about it because it's just like, and so that's the first time it happened. The second time is today. And then I think I was looking at the news, and so by the end of the year, hopefully we're all collectively, and then us personally as well, depending on, oh my gosh, I'm getting so nerdy right now about astrology.
That's fun.
Depending on where it is in your chart, you'll deal with it individually as well. But like, so that happened on January 6th. Now we're sort of like starting to like get to the heart of things and realize the ways we need to shift and change. And hopefully by the end of the year, like there'll be some change. But I just saw that like Netanyahu's no longer in power. That happened today. Like all this conspiracy theory stuff is coming out. There's just some weird like things that happen in the news today where I'm like, I don't know. I find it fascinating. Fascinating. I do. Just do. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I have a lot of faith in it. I just don't have.
No,
just not have the time. I mean, like.
Yeah, and it's not even like you don't have to have like, I don't know. I don't like live my life by it, but I just think it's just fascinating to like observe what is happening. So I don't know.
But do you look at it when you choose a release date?
Under the Moon came out right before a full moon. But it was a full moon. It was a full moon eclipse too. But yes, I do.
Oh, so that, yeah.
I do that. I'm nerdy like that. I don't know. It's fun.
I am floored about the January 6th thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's all, I don't know. There's the stuff that she was saying in 2019 about 2020. I was like, oh, and it was all like it was all lots of Mars energy, Mars and Saturn. Yeah, so Saturn is also very like isolating, and Mars is heat, fire, like fevers, blah blah blah, and like all the stuff last year. I was just like, there's got to be something to this, because everything she was saying, I was like, you are always right on. So if anyone's interested, Shandy Nicholas is the person that I love. And
I need to write that down.
yeah, she's amazing. She's got an app, and the app, I think she's got a free version. Of course, I'm on the paid bandwagon because I've been studying with her for so long, but it's fascinating. And she also, like her work has aided in like how I do my ritual work around like the new and the full moons and things like that too. So it's been really healing and wonderful too, on top of the craziness that is like the uncanny stuff that goes along with what's happening in the world. But yeah.
Well, and I think even if you don't set your clock to it, you don't plan your breakfast diet, you don't make your day-to-day plan about it, I still think, especially with the last year and a half that we've all dealt with, just to say, okay, and I don't know much about astrology, but I know an awful lot about Shakespeare. It's in your stars.
Totally.
It's in our stars to know that come December things will get better. I mean, I think that is, and I juxtapose that with the idea of the moment is all there is, but that while the moment is all there is, it's a little easier to enjoy the moment that's all there is if you're like, okay. And if you feel like there's a force out there that's going to help stuff balance out somehow. It may be tough to get there, but it'll,
Yeah, and there's something to be said about like the idea with this moment is all there is. Like, um, you know, we have no control over what happened in the past, and we have no idea or control over what's happening in the future. And really, to be mindful and be present as much as we possibly can. You know, the joy that comes with that, sometimes the pain, but you sit with the pain and you move through the pain and you get to the joy. I just think that it's like golden words, you know?
I like that you had said something about realizing that life is magic. Just the awareness, or like you said, being present and noticing, especially this last year when we slowed down enough to notice, or not like, oh gosh, I got to go meet with the ladies every week and I just want to sit at home or not run and rush. And now it's like we realize how important that is, not a have to, it's a need to, want to, love to type of thing.
Totally. I also think too, I believe that there's something greater than all of us. And I think that presence allows us to be aware of what's around us. It allows us to set intentions, and whatever you want to call it that might be listening, I think, it helps us to call the things in too. And that's part of what I mean too with like life is magic. Like some of the things when I've been really present around intentions, putting intentions out there and trying to walk through life with as much gratitude as possible. And when I'm really there and I'm really practicing it and I'm rooted in it and grounded in it, the magic comes. And I'm floored by, oh my gosh, I just said 2 days ago that I was thinking about this person and I just ran into them, or, things like that, or, I've had a couple of times where I do this practice that my friend Liza taught me called Pray Rain journaling. Have you guys heard of that? Where you write in a journal like something has already happened. And there was a large thing that happened for me involving like a big ginormous thing like selling a home, where I wrote in my Pray Rain journal around like these intentions, and I put lots of gratitude in and around it, and that night the household, stuff like that, where it's like if you're really I don't know, and it's not always easy. It's not always easy. But I love being reminded that being present and being intentional around healing and connection with other people, how that just can really bring so much joy and meaning into life,
Well, you're talking, and this is probably known to everybody, but being present, just shutting down your own self-doubt noise is huge.
It is.
Because I could be present for everybody else, but then I'm always listening to the shithead in my head. If you can shut that down, it's like then you can receive so much more.
Yeah, and then that's so true, Heather. That's so, and I think those are the moments that you talked about just now. Like those are the hard moments. Those are the moments where, and it's like a muscle almost that you have to train to be like, okay, I realize that like my monkey mind is going, and I need to like step back, and I need to ground, and I need to like, and sometimes you have to do that 50 times a day or whatever it is. But yeah, I think that that's true.
I was gonna say your last two songs, the one you did for Me Too and this one, it gets the hair on my neck literally will stand up. So you're doing something and it just gets me.
Thank you. Thank you. I do
So
feel like there's been a shift for me in a good way, just with the way songs are coming through and the trust that I have in myself that I didn't have when I packed my bags and I moved to New York City. I think that comes with age and experience and heartache and joy and all the things. But I do feel um, grateful to have had those songs. I feel like songs kind of come through us, you know. Grateful for the whatever guidance I have during those times. So, and I'm really grateful to get to share. I've been holding on to Under the Moon for like a year and just didn't ever feel like the right time to release it. And I'm just really glad that it's out into the world. And people, I've been grateful for all the people who've listened and my notes and all the things. So thank you for those kind words.
I think that there's in your music often a calmness and a tender voice. You have a very tender voice, but it's not weak in any way. It's kind of open to being heard without any kind of scream. And there's almost I always think, oh, it's even when the message of the words may not always be calming per se, there is still you maintain and it's funny because I've seen you work or saw you work when you were recording the live version for the Me Too and you work hard, but it seems so effortless from the
Yeah, thank you. It's funny. I studied vocal performance in college at the University of Minnesota. And I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day. I'm so grateful to have had that training because I can definitely like put it out there. But I feel like so I did that and then I went into musical theater and I can do the mixed belt thing.
Yep.
Forever. But I think I've spent my whole career trying to unlearn some of the things that I learned in college, and unlearn some of the things that I learned working in theater in order to get to a place where I found my voice. And I think that the way that I approach writing always is there's something in me that needs to be healed. And by putting it into a song, I hope that someone else will hear it and receive it and maybe feel a little healed themselves too. I think that, that's what music does for all of us in lots of different ways. But I wonder if maybe there's something there, like you said, about maybe I'm holding tenderness for myself. I don't know.
But there's a calming influence on it. When I listen, like, oh, and maybe that it is that authenticity and it's that, and I think that it takes great strength to be reserved like that, because you say you could belt it out, and sometimes it's fun to hear a song that's belted,
For sure.
But it's also, there are times, and I guess one of them is we're coming out of this COVID stuff is one of those times where you want some of that authenticity and you want someone to help you make sense of what's going on, and that requires that the tender voice.
Yeah, I'm so excited to hear all of my friends' new music that they wrote. I just think that that's just going to be such a gift and so amazing to hear what people have been working on and how they process all of it. I think that's going to be really cool. I really look forward to that.
And that's maybe a segue to talk about, hey, will you be playing with any of your friends in the near future?
Well, I was just talking to a friend today and I was like, I have to make one of those graphic-y things that has like a couple of shows together because I actually have a couple of shows.
Yay!
Yeah, it feels so good. I'm playing the Stone Ridge Bridge Festival this weekend. I'm on the Star Trib stage, which I guess is like a waterwork park, at 2 o'clock on Saturday the 19th. And then the next show that I have, lovely, wonderful, talented Katie Vernon is curating this great series called Pop at 50th in France, which is Uni Dinah, 50th in France. I'm playing on Friday, July 30th, at 4 o'clock. An hour long set there, and then I think you're supposed to bring chairs. Grab a little chair.
I was just there when maybe Mary so when Sarah Morris was playing. So yeah, and it was I forget that I don't live next door to Edina, but it's a very nice setup. So if you had a chair, you could bring it, but there are graduated large steps. You could also, yeah.
That's great. I think I'm gonna go try to check it out on Friday. I don't remember who's playing, but
yeah, it's kid friendly. It's there's an ice cream shop right there. I got there maybe I got there at 5:30 or 6, and sun didn't seem bad. I don't know what it's like at 4 o'clock. You will learn, but it's very easy.
Awesome.
It's great. It looks like there's a restaurant or a bar. There were tables outside that seemed to be getting food from somewhere. But awesome. You could also pack a little picnic, I think, if you wanted to. It's totally. Just very.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm really excited about that. And then the big show. Very excited.
The show
is on August 5th, which is a Thursday. I'm playing a double bill with my dear friend Sarah Morris. At the Hook and Ladder Theater and Lounge. They have this beautiful under the canopy. It's magical. There's little lights and beautiful lighting, and we're both playing with our bands. Little band show. I haven't played with my band since like October 2019.
Oh wow!
So I'm so excited. I can't wait. We're gonna play a couple new songs, but we'll get to play. This is the band that I recorded Union Son with. So we'll play a bunch of songs from that, and I think I had mentioned before, it's a really summery sort of a record, and I just can't wait for that. Like I'm gonna cry. It's just gonna happen. It's gonna be so nice. And I think that they I don't know if there are 2 pods left. I think 2 pods are gone. But there are 4 pods and 6 pods, and I don't know. But it's gonna be really wonderful. So if anyone wants to know, please for that. All the info is on my website, Fitzgerald.com.
Nice. And that too, Heather and I, we were just there. You were there a couple times last week, but we were there one night. It's that too is a very casual. Awesome. And we had the sunny seats, but they were not abrasively sunny.
Right. And I suppose at that time.
No, they'll be, especially that late in the year. They should be.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. That's going to be really fun. If you head over to my website tomorrow, I'm going to post about. I have a wonderful artist friend named Trey Everett, and he's a pen and ink artist, and he drew this beautiful image with the Rumi quote, "This woman is all there is," with a moon. And it's like, and it has all these different petals around it, like blooms, whatever. So I am going to announce some new merch around that tomorrow. So I'm excited to share his work. It's just beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Summer is your time, because I remember the album that came out in 2018, 2019. I remember how summery that was. It was really.
Yeah.
You could add a cool video or something, I remember.
It feels like summer, and then Spellbound was so fun to make. Super fun. It was like floating in a creek with dress on, and
okay, yeah, that's what I remember.
Some Ophelia action, is that I do remember it.
I ended up enlisting a bunch of theater friends. My friend Rich Hampson, who is the costume director or costume designer out at Chan, was like, raid the costume shop. I was like, amazing. And then I called a bunch of my theater friends, and they're like, awesome. And one of my theater friends was like, one of my friends is a flamethrower. Do you want her to come? I was like, yeah. And so they were like teaching It was amazing. I don't know how the cops weren't like, "What are you doing on the beach by the river with flames?" But nobody came. Somebody was looking out for us, and it was so fun to make. It was a blast. Great.
I
That's
love
amazing.
that. Yeah. I was
You
going to
gonna-
say we have to be careful for Will because he's going to talk about how awesome your music is, and then he's going to say, and my mom's really great with a lot of fiery stuff.
Right?
She likes fire.
Like, no, honey, no. Tent, and we're all
That's
grown
in the house chat, not out the house chat.
up. Actually, all those are things. Those are definitely.
Well, they are. I'm sitting in the basement of my sister, who was a kindergarten teacher, inner city Chicago. Let me tell you, there are inside stories, there are outside stories, and kindergartners do not know the difference.
No, they totally don't.
No, they don't.
No, Will's starting to kind of get it. He's going into third grade, so he's starting to do that.
Get a little street savvy by third grade.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, summer's fully on though. We just spent the day at the swimming pond, and it was so great, and just feel and with people, it just feels so good to be with people. So I hope that I get to see both of you like in real life. Definitely want to do that walk. We should do that one.
Yes. As soon as I'm back, I think that the Stone Arch Bridge, the lineup for Stone Arch Bridge, of course, looks amazing because
Yeah.
I'm going to be in Austin, Texas. But it looks like I think folks should get down there to see you for that.
Yeah, the lineup is really awesome. I'm grateful to be a part of it. I look at the friends and other people that I admire on that list, and I'm really grateful.
Yeah. Great for anybody who's been listening to live music, that you get a booster shot of a lot of great people.
Yeah, my friend Doug Collins is playing before me at one, and I'm gonna go make sure I listen.
Nice. Yes, he would be someone not to miss. That would be Annie, for people who are listening, how can they find you online? What's the website address?
It is www.anniefitzgerald.com, and I'm on all the streaming platforms. And Facebook and Instagram. I'm more active on Instagram, I think, but I still love new friends, and just grateful for the opportunity to share.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me, and for what you all do for Minnesota music. We're very lucky.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.